Okay, everyone, welcome to the new course for the WA. Got a nice little new tag, right? And this is Learn, Editing, Perform Green Screen. And this first day is really pretty much a taster day as far as lecture on how to edit. That's why mainly we're here. But this class is also for actors, it's for writers, and for filmmakers, because I feel that everyone needs to know what everyone else does. I think that too many of us just kind of bludgeonly walk into a system and expect other people to do the work for us, and then, it still claim it's ours without having an idea of how much time an editor has to actually sit at a computer and edit your film. How important a sound man or sound person is to have to your film. Why we should like green screen in a particular way. Some of you had already had the first taster experience of doing a green screen project. With one thing you will notice, and you've been very nice about it, is that your green screen is what we call technically dirty, which means it has little flecks of black and pockets of imagery, and you can see through stuff. Anybody know why that happens?
Is that lighting?
Because of the lighting.
Because of the lighting. Because when we went into that room, we had a big theater to work with, and we didn't have a lighting team to work with us into that. And so when I said, okay, can we light the background and can we light the people separately, a guy put a light on the floor and shined it against us. In Rachel's scene with me and Mal, for example, if you notice, right, when Mal comes over to me and he leans in, his body's all green.
Green on one side it was, wasn't it?
And that's because the light, which is shining onto him, shining onto the green, what happens is when it shines onto the green wall, what did it do? It bounced back.
Yeah.
So, what can we do? It's called spill suppression. And so in the editing, we have to meticulously, painfully try to paint that out. So
that doesn't happen then if it's lit right?
No.
Because Nigel's was really good. He didn't have any of that
Which one?
dirtiness.
Oh.
With Helen.
Because it's where Helen was placed.
Yeah.
Right.
Helen wasn't nowhere near the wall.
Okay.
She was in the middle of the stage.
Right.
So
it didn't cast any shadows on the back. Oh, okay, I get you.
No.
And she was in full spotlight as well.
She really? Right.
And she was standing in the spotlight, which is the top light, or a fill light, because the key would be from behind. She was also practically lit from the front.
Right.
Just the way it is.
Okay.
So this course will be about trying to understand that before you go and shoot again.
Okay.
Also, say with WSIM, we all know that it's making it up on the fly, right? But it's about understanding your background first. So this course is also about research. So Tracy's very good at that. She found some good flying images, right? Just not the flying images we needed for a guy who was supposed to be on the street with a umbrella.
Umbrella, yeah.
If he was on the coast, like the Isle Man and all that, that's great. But so we used the image because it was what we had to use. Also, with that is that there's an understanding when it comes from your director mind is what are you asking your actors to do? Are you actually visualizing what they're doing? So Nigel was very good with this, the way he talked to Helen and demonstrated, fairies flying around you. So it's up for him to find the fairies. Tracy was very good at explaining to Midhai that, it's lightning, it's raining, and I thought his acting was superb on that.
Yeah.
But it was also not understanding the background and the foreground and the actor all at the same time. And this is why we meticulously think about that.
I was just going to say, Chase, that actually it's funny, I was thinking of yours, Tracy, because I thought it was really good on the day and everything, and you did give really good direction, but and it's got nothing to do with anybody really, it's more because it's the learning curve. But I was thinking, it was how it was shot with him as well, wasn't it? Because when he was flying, it should actually have been always from behind his head, really, shouldn't it? Because I was really thinking about this because I was thinking it was really good, it looked great, but it just wasn't working with the... because it was his face, wasn't it, a lot of it? Because he was flying.
I think you can get any direction, but you just need to match
to make
it
look
with
like
the background.
but to make it look like he was flying, it wasn't full on. I mean, I was just thinking, you have to think of these things, not you. I was thinking in future, you
I
have
know,
to think
because
about how it looks like he's flying
Jay said
over
to me,
like that.
because
It would have had
because
to been shot from behind him.
when the fairies were on the table and they were meant to be flying, although one kind of like flew in a different way than the other one, but the other one was like
Well, it
flying
looks
as
like
if-
she's going like that.
Yeah, but he
Not
said,
like-
he said to me, we'll bring the camera round and we'll just do it over
Yeah.
the top of her shoulders and over her head, so it looks
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
so
like
the
she's
angle
going
of
like
that,
that,
yeah, so it's like a bird.
You have to get the background. If you're shooting them from the front,
Yeah, but you
got
have
to
to
get the
think of
background
your
going
angle,
away.
don't you? No, but you have to think of the angle because
Oh wait, look at
Yeah,
that.
it's some of it
difficult.
difficult.
We'll be doing that.
Look at that with bloody-
Yeah.
Did somebody hit the light switch for me,
Yeah.
but not, like, try to leave the backlights on if you
Well,
can?
there's
Just
one actually.
okay, well, whatever. I think I'm still lit. Now, I was worried about this. I'm not getting this through the speaker.
We can hear it.
Can you?
Yeah, just about.
It's like wireless, isn't it?
Right. I'm going to add this to the page. It's not on the page as of now. And of course, who doesn't love Superman? BBS. You know, so you'll be able to listen to it fully, you know, when it's on the page. But we don't have wires as well,
Yeah.
right? Light switch again, please. We don't have wires as well. But what you did see was the fact that he did a green screen, which is what the whole concept is. He was laying on the floor, right, which is what you had Minhaj doing. So what it is I think, and this is not a slight, this is only for learning, right? What it was you just wanted to shoot everything, which is fine. But what I'm asking you to do now with this course is to focus on what you're shooting. So you shot him from various different angles. He sat on the table, he laid on the table, he was on the side, you know, and all that other kind of stuff. But understand what you want. So like, for example, I don't know why that does that, but for example is that when he was flying, there's one point where I kind of like ran the camera over his shoulder, and so the umbrella, you know, like came like into the frame. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you should know your film implicitly. The whole point is that then I had the bottom of the ocean which he was flying over, right?
Really
And then you cut to the front where you can see him from the front flying, right? And then you could cut to the wide shot where he's actually laying on the table. So all of these are the angles and stuff that you have to now meticulously think of. We were making fun of I wouldn't say each other, but we were making fun of, all right, different people when you would work on a shot list and then you come in and shoot, right? Okay, we make fun of Debbie. And the point is that I need you now when you make your shot list to really actually meticulously think about it, right? I can guess at anything organically because I've been working for 15 years, more than that, really. But my point is that for you, I need you to think, I'm in a green screen, I'm only going to need this shot for a second. I'm only going to need this shot to make that shot look like it works. You know, in that Superman one, for example, there was when he had to take off, right? He still was on the floor and he didn't have any wires. So again, it's going to be about the image itself. What images do we find? Sometimes you have to make the image yourself. Like, so when I would work with kids and I would take the sheet in and do the flying thing, you know, what I would have to do is have the camera, right, like low, right? And then when they're going to take off, I lift the camera up. So the background is going, you get me? Now you might say, whoa, if the background goes whoosh and he goes whoosh, that's going to be weird. It is, unless you reversed it in the edit. Camera goes whoosh, in the edit, you made the camera go whoosh. So if the background goes this, and he goes that
way.
It looks like he's moving, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah? These are part of the tricks of the trade that you will learn, right? All right, so I kind of like went off my program. So, editing, yes. Who are the 5 key people who support or need support around the editor, like as crew-wise? Like, I mean, what does the editor need to know about, let's say, crew people?
Continuity?
Okay, now, does what they do, people, like the roles, like the director, right?
Oh, you mean in the studio?
Yeah, like okay.
Lighting.
Lighting, there you go. The director,
You need to know what Sound. the director wants. You need to know.
No, people right now.
Sound.
Sound. There you go.
The writer, the actual script. They need to know what the story is.
Yeah, that would be like a
Would it be
6.
the cinematographer?
Camera person. So one more.
Props?
No, that's art design. Yeah, I'll give that a 7. But one more. Why this course is called Learn Editing Before Green Screen.
Their assistant? No.
The actor.
Oh.
Right? All of these things are key for the editor because for the editor to actually put all the components together, he needs to know a bit about everything. Which is why, if you're an actor, you need to know what an editor is looking for from you. If you're lighting and sound, you need to know what the editor is looking for from you. If you're the director, you definitely need to work in concert with the editor, right? This is why this course is open. Now, true enough, eventually we'll probably allow the actors come in like in the second half while you're editing in the first half, right? But I offer the opportunity as an actor for people to understand the process. Because I can't tell you how valuable it is to understand this end process. Because so many people ignore it. Because it's hard, it's difficult. They'd rather wait to see what happens. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying. Still not a good day. So, let's go. Let's do this way read. Hey, Nigel, I got a marker.
Yay!
Yay! Okay. Sound. And of course, it's not a thick marker. This is my kryptonite, right? Can't stand sound because my background is in music videos. Make hundreds of thousands of dollars in music videos. I don't give a crack about sound because I don't use it. Why?
The sound's already there. The music.
Yeah, whatever we actually record live on set is not used because we're going to get rid of all that sound and just add the music back to it. Yeah? But becoming a filmmaker, I had to, be conscious of sound. So there's a word called, Nigel knows this, diegesis. Right? Which is really a Greek word about diegetic sound, which they say is the kind of like the sound of the background, but let's just say what they talk about is diegetic and non-diegetic. And the reason why I am explaining this to you is because for those who actually want to go forth and edit, remember this is also a video that we're going to put for people. You're going to need to know this. Diegetic is the sound that is recorded live on set. The background noise that is on set, right? Sound that is already there. So, if you're shooting in a house, which a lot of people do, they figure, okay, I can't afford any locations, I'll shoot in my house, you can shoot in my kitchen, right? And guess what's happening? We're hearing noises from where?
Fridge,
Fridge.
lights,
Lights,
outdoor traffic, outside.
Telephone.
alarm clocks,
Kids.
creaking floorboards,
Pets.
right? Those are all diegetic sound, nothing much you can do with it but live with it.
What does diegetic mean?
Well, diegesis is actually just kind of like the background sound, but it's based upon, they just named it from a Greek word for diegesis. Yeah, it's a Greek guy. Don't ask me. Right?
Didn't it
This is
used to
just
be
what
called?
they use. It's pretty much just background sound, right?
Didn't it used to be called the wild track?
No, I'm going to get to that one. No,
That's
don't
what you
jump.
do.
See, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Filmmakers think they know. What's your name again, mate?
Neil.
Neil. You're a filmmaker, aren't you, Neil?
Yeah.
You're from the hangout. Filmmakers think they know.
Yeah.
But they actually are only just organizing their thoughts. This is what I'm trying to do. Non-diegetic is added sound. This is the main thing you need to know about. Because this is where, as a filmmaker, you have to, I'm shooting out on the street. What am I hearing?
Traffic.
Traffic. Nothing I can do about that. Shut up! Not gonna happen. I was shooting out in Everton Valley, and we were shooting a murder scene, and all of a sudden, I was getting very annoyed because I was hearing this helicopter go. Like, what the fuck? Why don't you go away? First time came to Liverpool. Our director said to me, "Oh yeah, those are the police." The police in a helicopter? Yeah, they're here for you. They're here for me. And guess what I saw next? I saw 2 cop cars coming running up the hill, right? Of course, I tried to do a runner and got caught. But because we were waving a gun, we had a girl who was just stabbed, bloody, lying in the grass in Everton Valley. This was like about 10 years ago when there was a series of murders in Everton Valley. How was I supposed to know? Oops. So, sound's already there, right? The idea is that this is where your music, voiceover, and your Foley comes into play. And this is why you need to know it, right? So what happens is as...
What's Foley?
Foley is sound effects. So like,
That's
if I'm walking across this floor, you're not going to hear me. But if I wanted to add Foley to it, I'll have a Foley box like in the studio, and there'll be footsteps. Right?
That's not my phone, by the way.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to write it down.
I'm just turning my phone on. Mine starts making dingly dull sounds.
Yeah. So it's sound effects, pretty much, okay? I'll put that like that. Sound effects. Now, what happens is, the reason why I'm talking about it is because this is the bane of our existence. You know, because we want to shoot outside, we need the atmosphere. Because we want to shoot in the house, because we got no money. You know, we want to turn off your fridge and spoil your food. Right? Because we said we want to shoot for an hour, we're there for 10 hours. You know it, right? So the whole point about it is that when you're recording your sound, you might have to stop and start. Why do you think you have to stop and start?
Well, because you might have to wait until that airplane goes over, or you might have to wait
Okay,
until that
maybe-
loud lorry goes over.
Let me use it in different terminology. It's specific for you to know as an editor that when you're cutting scenes, you're gonna have at least like a 2 to 4 ratio, which means you're gonna at least probably shoot like 4 takes and 2 are good, right? So what happens is that if you take a piece from take 2 and another good piece from take 4,
not much
they're going to connect together visually, but they're not going to connect together audibly,
Yeah,
right?
because you might have a car in one scene, but you haven't got any car.
Or the
Sound.
fridge was going, or the washing machine was on
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah.
I love it when you try to send somebody downstairs to tell the neighbor to shut the machine on. I've been there, trust me. Right? Dude, can you shut up the... Right? So what happens is the editor is stuck with this diegetic sound because it's already there.
That doesn't match up with the...
So what he wants to do is to cut in between the dialogue, right? And then he wants to replace the Foley, the non-diegetic sound, so that way it matches up. But
So if you haven't got it, you have to go out and record it again.
well, this is where your answer comes in.
Yeah.
Alright.
But as an editor, remember I'm talking about production, but I'm trying to talk about it from the editing point of view. As an editor, if you were inside, right, as a sound person, if you're inside, your job is to record room tone. If you're interior, I'll tell you what it is in a second. If you're outside, your job is to be called wild track.
You can fake it though, can't you?
Fake what?
Well, like inside a room, if there's like, say that fan,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear it now. If you don't want that, you just don't have it.
Yeah, but it messes everything
If you don't want
up
it, you
though,
don't have it.
doesn't
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, if you
It's
don't
there.
want that noise, yeah, but if you're in a room and you don't want that noise, then you don't necessarily have to, you can take that out, that sound out.
You're gonna take out my fan and you're not paying me any money? No, seriously, think about what you said. You're gonna get rid of something that belongs to me that I'm giving you for free, and you just said you want to take out my fan?
But the
Yeah.
fan's not something you don't want.
If you
to pay
don't
for
want the
fan.
noise of the fan in the room, you don't have to have it. You can record without the noise.
How do you do that?
You'd have to have no one speaking.
It'd have to be a voice.
Surely,
wouldn't it?
yeah, but wouldn't you just record, well, you could record it in a different.
But then it's, can I
a
just,
different-
it's really, because I mean, I think sound is like, it's like an absolute nightmare. The
It
only
is.
other times I've ever tried to
Oh,
edit,
God, yeah.
you lose the sound and it doesn't sync up and then the lips
Yeah.
are gone. And
Mhm.
I mean, for me,
It's a nightmare.
I'd like to do
For Tracy's
calls
a
on
nightmare.
sound.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is, what we've just said then, if you start cutting bits out, the best way to do it would be to do the wild track of the room, then have somebody in the studio, then have the actors
wait,
in the
wait.
studio,
Hold on.
do a voiceover, play
Debbie?
that over,
Let me stop you.
wouldn't it? That'd be the only way to do that.
Because I'm trying to help you, right? Let's make sure our terminology is right. She's going to do,
Room tone, yeah, sorry.
if she
room
was outside,
tone, the wild track, yeah.
yeah?
So and then you'd have to, so what I meant is, but it's complicated, it's all,
No, it's not.
well,
It's
what I
not,
meant is
you
it
just
doesn't become, it's not just like a case of on the edit, I'll just cut that and
Mhm.
match that up.
Yeah.
If you've got to plan it, you've got to say, no, actually, in this one, the sound's not right.
Mm-hmm.
How do I fix that? I have to then get them into the studio, which is
Mhm.
what, because when I worked in the studio, that's what you started. I started to get like the actors in all the time to work over with the editor.
Right. What you're talking about is ADR, and you're jumping ahead.
Right, so
So let's get to how room tune can be simple. The problem is it's so simple that 98% of the filmmakers don't do it. 98. I can say that because I've seen it, right? Only the professionals do it. Because only the professionals have the money to hire a sound man who will tell them they should do it.
My brother's a sound.
You'll watch. Go to your brother and he'll tell you, yeah, 98%, he's probably right. Right? So, room tone is pretty much you're going to record only a minimum of 1 minute of atmosphere. Right? So what that means is we just shot a scene in this classroom, right? Director's so focused and everything like that. I gotta get this, I gotta get that dialogue going, I gotta get all that going, right? And it's tantamount for, if you don't have a sound man, to at least have a producer or a first AD who's conscious of this, to say, everybody stop. What we need to do before you leave, we need to get 1 minute of room tone in this room. What are they recording? Nigel.
The silence.
What you can hear right now.
What do I hear right now?
That fucking
Fucking fan. What else do I hear?
Squeaky chairs.
Squeaky chairs.
People.
What do I hear, Mal?
Phones.
No.
Phones go off.
We'll be pissed off. Now we got to go over again. Another minute. What do I hear? Fans. I hear all of this diegetic sound.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
Spherics.
Right. So what happens is that I'm hearing your heartbeat. I'm hearing the floorboards creak. I'm hearing bodies that are just stationary in a room. That matters because when you're cutting from take 1 to take 2, take 1 to take 4, right? On your edit, here's take 1, here's take 4. You splice it together with room tone on your audio track. So when you start editing, you're going to hate me because your ears are going to turn into rabbits and you're going to hear every last little sound. But the main sound that's going to annoy you is that cut from one clip to the next. And when you layer the room tone, and it's 1 minute, so that way you can just keep going, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, right? You have a smooth bed of just atmosphere for the tone of the room.
Is that not kind of turned down slightly and always played through all
No,
of the
why
parts?
would, it's silence. Why would you turn down silence? How would you turn down silence?
While someone was speaking?
Well, then I would kick their ass and we have to start over again.
Right.
The point is you don't speak. You don't move.
But no, I'm saying, like, if there's a scene where it's like, if there's one edit where there's like someone talking,
Yeah.
would you not turn down the background sound though while they talk?
You can't.
So that's clearer.
The point is you
You
can't.
can if you put it on one track though.
No, you can't. it's diegetic. It's already there. What you're talking about is if we had even more money, and you had a sound man who had a mixer, and he had wireless microphones, and you had a microphone, and Nigel had a microphone,
Yeah.
right? That's what you're talking about. I'm not talking about that. That's a whole different story, right? Because that will be about a sound man who's able to mix everything into one track, right? So what I'm trying to say is that, let's say Mal's a heavy breather, right? I know you are. He's in the scene and stuff, but you're like, it's like
Tone down his breathing.
yeah, you're distracting Mal. It's like I do a psych course, and when this woman comes on, this one woman in particular, when she comes on, right, all the time she comes on and wants to talk, she has a sleeping dog in her room. It's real serious sleeping dog. And you're trying your best to listen to this woman share her story, but everyone is just like, cause you don't see the dog. You can just imagine this must be one big ass dog. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm in such pain, I'm doing all this stuff, and all you can do is hear the damn dog. So it'd be nice if the dog had a wireless mic on and we could turn him down. Or we just have to go, yeah, right.
Trace,
Okay.
can I just ask a random question? But for the professionals, obviously, when it's big budget movies, does the sound person, do they mix the sound, or is it all the editor? I mean, will they do it for the editor?
The sound person starts a sound mix. So their job actually is to come with a recorder, pretty much like a minimum of 4 tracks, and to mix the sound on set. But their job also is to make sure that if they're using wireless mics and everything, that they're recording individually those tracks as well. So they'll give you a sound file full of that. Yeah.
Right. In a situation, say if you're in a work situation,
Mm-hmm.
right, and you're not doing a corporate thing, but say you're doing like someone's party or someone's wedding, and you're just there on your own, and you haven't got, you've just got a camera with a mic on it, then what would you do about the sound then? Because you're going to have people sneezing, you're going to have...
This is somebody's wedding, right?
Well, say if it was.
Yeah. Live it and suck it, really. I mean, like, you're not going to put a microphone pack on the back of someone's very expensive dress, right? What will happen is that, like, if you, depending on how professional you were, most people were ex-students and everything, you might want to mic the vicar, and the vicar might be up for that, to put a wireless mic on the vicar, because it's only his dialogue that you're really concerned about. And then that way you can wipe all the sounds.
Well, that would pick up the couples, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah, it would pick up the couple as well, but when I meant, their vows and everything, but he's right there, so you're right. But what I meant is if you didn't want all of the sound of the church or the theater or wherever they're holding their wedding, you might want to do that. That's like if you were a really professional wedding crew, instead of the ones I see that runs around with 2 cameras. Who's turning it off? I'll run around and get this other shot. What the hell are you doing? All I'm doing is watching the camera guys go back and forth. Like my wedding. My wife was pissed. Anyway, but you could do that. So, Wild Track. Now that's very good, Rachel, whose brother's a sound man. When you're outside and you're out in traffic and you're having dialogue and everything like that, people feel they got no choice but to shoot it diegetically with a camera mic. I do it all the time. Or they might have wireless mics or body mics.
You used your mic on my film, I think. Or
Yeah.
You just put it behind us
Mhm.
on the virus film, I think.
Yeah.
I think you can hear it sometimes though when they've asked the actors to do it in the studio to do the dialogue. I think you can hear the difference sometimes. They'll ask the actors to like record it in a studio, and then they'll have a wild track playing in the background, and then and sometimes it's really obvious that it was recorded in the studio because it just sounds really fake.
Yeah, but if you got a really good sound man with a really good wild track, what you do is that, okay, we recorded this outside, we really shouldn't be recording it this way, we've done it this way, but make sure, same theory behind the room tone, that you get the wild track of that location. So that way, if you wanted to go back into the studio, if you had that kind of money, this is additional dialogue replacement, right? Something called something else, but that's what I know it to be called. So when they're actually recording in the studio, like you say, yes, we're at the microphone and we're gonna say it the same way. I'm looking at my voice. Yeah, and they're trying to mimic
Do you know
it.
what? I watched the film last night, a big American blockbuster film, and The Big Short it was.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But the lip sync and the dialogue was terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
What I'm amazed about,
Yes,
Rachel,
anyway.
what I'm amazed about is how much criticism I get from my films that have no money, and I look at big $1 million movies like that, and I wonder what the.
I know. Honestly,
What, the
I
guy
was
asleep?
so shocked.
Yeah.
I was so shocked.
Happens.
It was just really
It
awful.
happens. But also, too, is in cases like The Big Short, right? You know, in cases like that, you don't know what's actually going to work. You don't know what's topical. So sometimes they have to replace some bit of dialogue, and it creates. And what you're going to get to when we get to the editing, splicing is that you could go one frame out of sync, and it totally fits
Yeah,
up
it
everything.
does. Yeah.
One frame.
Yeah.
And my experience with editing, right? The reason why I think I became a good editor is like I was sent down to Jamaica to shoot a reggae group, 3 guys, and we're down there, and our equipment gets stuck in customs, and we're trapped down there for an extra 2 weeks. Oh, we gotta shoot. Right. But come back, and the editing's on my hands, and I couldn't understand a lip sync word, anything these guys saying. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, really strong from the grill, really strong. The lyrics, it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
It took me about a month in the studio sitting on my butt, because I was paid lovely, but I sitting on my butt to just sync it. And it was kind of like one of those things where 2 frames forward, 2 frames back. I'm not even looking at it, 2 frames forward, 2 frames. When you're falling asleep, and it finally gets it. 2 frames forward. You know, you want to have a heart attack when it finally gets on sync.
Yeah.
And everything. It's like, can this just be one take? And of course it couldn't be. But what I did was, if you look at the video, it's called Shoreline Gang. It's still on YouTube. Is that it's full of what we call video droppings. You know, shots where they're not lip syncing.
Yeah.
Because of that one fact. Not just say, hey,
I
look,
know. Imagine if
be
it was a foreign
satisfied,
language.
dude.
Would you not use a clapperboard to try and eliminate that?
That doesn't help.
Doesn't
The
help.
thing about it is that like what you call a smart slate and syncing. I mean, again, we're jumping ahead, but let me put it down.
Why doesn't the clapperboard help?
Smart slate. Okay, because really, I'm really saying it in a multi-camera shoot kind of way. Is that, you know, one camera guy turns it on and the other turns it on 2 frames later.
Yeah. 2 seconds later. People are always going to be
2
delayed.
frames. Let's give them a little bit of speed. It matters, you know. The clapperboard slate is really just a guess. It's like kind of like with each take, and they mark it, right? You know that, okay, if you got a really good AC, which is assistant cameraman, who'll go, okay, this is take 2, camera 1, and camera 3, and camera 2, mark it, right? And everything like that. But do you see that done here? So even to even mention smart slate to me, I'm like, what are you kidding me? You're really talking about some guy with one of those like wooden slates, aren't you? And they think, mark it. It's not the same. But a smart slate actually is electronic, where you actually see the numbers. And the reason why I'm going to explain it because it's an editing class. What you really mean is what they call Viz code. So the smart slate, which is electronic, right, has the visual time code, right? So when it's marked and you see it on the screen, it's marked at 00110213. Yeah? Now you need to be a mathematician to edit. Right? Sorry, but you do. You know, these all the way down to the frames. Hour, minute, second, frame. Yeah? And if you're in America, your cameras run at 24 frames, and if you're in England, it runs at 25. So no, it's not really mattering, right? But it's good. That's why I'm a visual editor. I edit by sight.
Yeah.
That just happens.
Are you going to teach us to do the time code one?
He's just given us the reason why he's knocking the door.
Oh, yeah, right? I'll tell you about it. You can learn it yourself. But the main thing about it is, this is about when you get to the real world. So it's a good question, right? Because this is what they're doing. You know, you can imagine that they're sitting in there, they're not playing guessing games. They're actually electronically doing their mathematics to make sure that their frames are all synced up.
So like the BBC and places.
Yeah, but it's obviously, like she just said, with The Big Short not working. Because I'm sure they had smart slates.
Big movie, Big Short. You know, hey, I don't know how long their actual post-production time was, but somebody should have got fired. You know what I mean? I mean, you gotta imagine with all the big names in that movie, they only had probably Christian Bale for maybe 3 days, a week if they're lucky. In his very busy schedule to make that movie.
It wasn't him, it was the fella who was a bit nutty, the one that was like just so cynical
Steve
about
Carell?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they had more time with him, but what are you gonna do?
It was all his stuff. It was no one else. It was.
Are you trying to say all of it was that? I got the movie. I seen the movie.
Okay, so it's right near the end of the film. It's a scene right near the end of the film, but it goes over a couple of scenes where they just don't get it.
I have to look at it. Now you're gonna make me look at it, and I have to check it out when I have to pay my ticket to go to the pictures and watch it.
You just stream it.
What?
You just stream it.
Yeah, right, whatever. So anyway, let's finish this off, Rachel. So, Wild Track Outside, so it's the same thing as room tone where you're recording a minute of atmosphere, but it's exterior atmosphere. And you're doing that in the same location so that way that even though that traffic noise is going to ignore you, you might have the lucky ability to re-record your actors in the studio, and you're going to need the same traffic noise that is actually in the piece. When it's different, that's why you notice it. So that's the mistake that was made. When you say, oh man, that sounds like I can hear that studio voice, that's because they didn't apply the right atmosphere.
Right.
And the reason why you know it's not the right atmosphere is because when they went from take 1 where they actually had the outside stuff, and they went to take 4 where they had the ADR and the wild sound, of course it's going to be different. It's just simple mathematics.
Good practice is always do a 1 minute.
What happens if you don't get it on the day and you have to go back? Does that really mess it up?
Well, you slap yourself silly because I learned this and I shouldn't be like everyone else. But it's awkward. It's going to be what you just said. The audience is going to know. If it matters to you, most people don't care. I want you to at least care about the logic behind it.
Good practice, Rachel, we always do it.
Yeah.
Always do it. Just like
Yeah. So you have to think
that.
that whoever your team is, if everybody learns it, right? Let's just say if this was a team, and you had a team of actors, writers, filmmakers, camera people in the one group. Well, what happened is that if everybody knows this, you're living. It's beneficial. Even if you're not the editor, you can be on the set, because people who have been acting in films and stuff, you could be on the set and say, damn, no, that ain't room tone, and we're leaving this place. Tell me something about that, director.
We're going to be filming green screen. Can we have at least one session or an hour or something where it's going to be this? Because I find this really hard doing all the sound.
I definitely think that this is something because.
Can we do it in practice?
Yeah. Reason why I'm talking about it, and I'm going to move on now. Reason why I'm talking about it is because when it comes to editing, you don't just it's not a game, right? You don't just go, okay, here's all my tools, right? Okay, what's the first thing I do? I'm trying to give you an essence of what you have to do and what you have to think about. I'm also giving you an insight into what I do when I'm doing your projects. When I'm adding your music or I'm adding the sound effect. I mean, sometimes you don't even notice it. I don't know, whose film was I know it was probably in your class, remember the Whiplash you was in? With Michael Davies.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're an actor. How can you look at me like I don't know?
Yes.
So Nigel's in the scene, and they're they're playing the piano. The guy's playing the piano, and he's this really aggressive teacher, J.K. Simmons and Whiplash, and he actually slaps the suit, right, and everything like that. Now, of course, Nigel's not gonna slap Sean or anything like that, you know.
I wanted to, but I didn't.
Yeah. But so the camera had to shoot it in a way, right, like over his shoulder, over Sean's shoulder, where he slaps and then it looks like he hits. So I do a little stunt training, right? He hits. Now that's not gonna work on the edit because on the edit it's just gonna be air.
He did it on Reach's graduate where I slapped Carly.
Yeah, you got to go.
Oh yeah.
Sound on that.
But what I'm trying to say is, well, yours is actually subtle, so yours is a better example. Is on his, it's like you hear the slap. When I put the slap in,
Where did you get the slap from?
oh, I have sound effects
Okay.
that you'll have access to. But so when I put the slap in, right, it's like, oh my God, it's jarring because as the audience listening and watching, you go, oh, did he really hit that kid? And it takes you out of the film a little bit. But when you slapped Carly, it was subtle because there was the slap was there, the music was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kind of.
And you might say, well, I don't hear the slap. So this is where you have to be careful as the filmmaker. You might say, I don't hear the slap, but you do.
Yeah.
His was over the top, like it was a kung fu movie. Oh! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yours was just supposed to be, shut up.
No, it worked for that. I thought.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say is there's a difference in that level of sound, right? So some people think they're playing a game. It's like, oh, this is funny. What's this? Car crashes. Ooh, it's got a big one. Bombs. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God. It's got to be in the Dolby stereo or something. But if it's there, it's there. And we atmospherically feel it as the audience. And that's where the whole diegesis is. Yeah? So, again, so this is just about sound when it comes to editing. The things that we need to know as editors. And when I said to you I have a sound file, right, of sound effects, I can use more, but there's a website called Incompetech, which is very good as far as royalty-free sounds. They now have free sounds on YouTube, which you should look at and download. So where you say, okay, I'm looking for atmosphere, I'm looking for forest, I'm looking for fire, I'm looking for whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then all of these things are readily accessible because they're royalty free.
Can I just ask something? You know, this is a course.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to use people's music because this is a course? Because I heard that if it's for study and not for profit, we can use other people's music.
Wow.
You can put a disclaimer
Yeah.
to say this is an
But do you
educational
have to
purpose
even
film.
do that, or if things change? Because like years ago when I did a
It's
course,
just,
it was
it's
like,
just you take a risk, I think.
You take a risk.
We're not publishing it. Are we?
I mean,
No,
like
it's not. They're on YouTube, so they are quite
Yeah.
strict. I've had one of my films removed off of
for me?
of our channel, not the Clockwork Orange,
Oh, yeah, I got
but
it.
something. I went to look at one of my films and it's been removed. So
Sure, I didn't remove it. You
Well,
know, I
maybe.
put all your files into a separate class now. If you go back to the YouTube channel, I separated the classes. So, but that does kind of like happen. I mean, I'm a YouTube partner, so I can put unlimited stuff on YouTube, and I get a lot of warnings and stuff because you know, people want to do that kind of stuff.
Contact the
But what was
artist
really
and say-
interesting, is what, like say with the WA, I made a music video in one of their tutor sessions, and I chose to use Pump Up the Jam because they wanted to do, I think they wanted to do Gangnam Style, something like that. I just said, oh, it's old now, right? So use Pump Up the Jam, and you know, put all the effects on it, and they, you know, they really liked it and stuff, and they say, okay, we want to put this out. But, you know, what about the music? We don't own it. So I said, yeah, you know what? If you're going to put it out, like on your channel, maybe I should get some royalty-free music. So I took the Pump Up the Jam out and put a royalty-free track on it. And the guy was like, not as good as Pump Up the Jam. You know? I said, I don't know what you're going to do, buddy. I mean, we could take the risk, right? And all that kind of stuff.
But
and so he said, wait a minute. So he said, you know what? I'll just call him.
Yeah.
Right? There's a number you could call.
Yeah.
Right, on YouTube and stuff like that. I'll call them, tell them, yeah, this was like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, oh, yeah, sure, no worries.
But isn't
You know,
it-
Creative Commons.
Can't you pay the royalty? And a lot of the time it's
Uh,
not a lot.
well,
It's
it's called,
expensive.
No, a
P-
lot of the time it's not. There's a
Yeah.
website, isn't it, that gives you...
PRS.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's £10,000 to use
Yeah,
a track
well,
in a film.
Yeah, if it's
But
like
you're allowed
Madonna.
to use 6 seconds for free. This is going back a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just
I think it's like
for
about 8
educational
seconds. You are
purposes,
right
it was
that
free.
you can use about 8 seconds for free, and but you could contact PRS or you could contact Creative Commons because that's supposed to be their job. But also too is strangely enough, you know, you'll be amazed at what people are willing to offer. Like we did a project, the Divergent project, and I contacted Moby was saying, hey, look, I'm offering up free music, whatever, you know, just tell me what's it for. And like I had to, you know, write a letter or whatever, put them online and everything, and send them the film, and they said, all right, cool. And so we had access to his music.
Yeah, if you're not making a profit from it, then a lot of artists are quite
Yeah.
Yeah.
willing to help.
The only problem is I would rather you also think about the fact that this is about visual grammar. It's about visually creating stuff, and I would want you to actually be proud of the stuff you make, so that way you want to send it to a festival. Like Sean, for example, in the first class, you know, like he just missed the horror festival like last year for his film, which was really awesomely good. But then he told me, right, as the director, he said, you know, I want this music from Valhalla Rising, right? And everything. I never saw the movie. I doubt many people have, whatever, and stuff like that. So, okay.
I think I've seen that. Is that where
Germans.
Yeah, probably.
the
Yeah. Nicholas Reifen. Either way, is I used the music from that for his Voices film, and it comes out really awesome, right? So he was right visually. Hey, this is what I want. But then when it came down to him wanting to send it out, then he's now still in this quandary, right? About whether I could or couldn't, should. And then I said to him, look, at the end of the day, dude, take it out and put some royalty-free music on it, because this is about the film, not about the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But
but
that's for a festival,
his choice. He
this is
wanted
just
that music.
educational.
You might want the music, you know. I mean, the point is, I don't want the sound to deter you, but you should know what everybody's saying is. You should know the legalities around it.
Yeah.
But you know, you could create your own with the royalty-free music. That's what I do. I spend a lot of time, and if you like your films, most of it's royalty-free.